Universities globally have been escalating their efforts to prevent or respond to concerning behaviours and sexual harm in their respective communities. This symposium brings together our peers, colleagues and leading voices to share their knowledge and experience with us. I'd like to start the day by thanking the communities, the members of our committee for their commitment and support in developing this fantastic event. Sarah Boomer from Murdoch University, Emma Taylor from Western Sydney, Wendy Hudson from the University of the Sunshine Coast, Megan Sharp from Griffith University, Ellie Darwinkle, Monash University, and Larissa Saliza Mendoza, and forgive me for not pronouncing that correctly, from the Australian National University. I'd also like to thank our local hub facilitators at the University of Queensland and Monash University who have put their hand up to host some of our delegates today. I also like to extend that thanks to Data Divas and ATM for the continued support of this symposium. It's in its 5th iteration. And our gold sponsors, Simplicity and EpiGM from Oxford University Press. So over the course of the 2 days, we'll have several breaks throughout the period, but feel free to jump up and grab a cuppa at any time that you like, because we are recording the symposium and will be available in the coming weeks. So before we move into our first presentation of the day, I'd like to start by acknowledging country. So we'd like to acknowledge the First Nations people as the traditional custodians on the vast countries in which we are all meeting on today. I'm coming to you from Widjabul Biable country in the Bundjalung Nation, and we recognise their continuing connection to the land and waters and acknowledge that they have never ceded sovereignty. We pay our respects to the elders past and present and extend that respect to all First Nation people here present with us today. So perhaps you'd like to pop into the chat box what country you are joining us from today, and we might move into the next one where we're just going to do a bit of a content preview. So throughout the next 2 days, we're going to be talking about some sensitive topics. It's a space for us to exchange and engage in some critical thinking and sharing thoughts and ideas. So some of the presentations, as I mentioned, will discuss sexual harm in their retrospective communities, and we'll also be looking at domestic and family violence and information related to sexual safety and cultural perspectives of those. So this is just a friendly reminder to be mindful and take care of yourself throughout the next 2 days, that if you are feeling a bit overwhelmed or you're feeling some emotions that are getting a bit heated or a bit out of your control, to access your university's EAP service. We will also be popping up into the chat box a list of national support services available to everyone. So over to you, Sarah.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sarah Boomer, calling in from Mojaknungambuja. Really nice to see all the different countries popping up in the chat. Thanks for sending that through. I just wanted to let you know that throughout the symposium, we're going to have several evaluations that pop up in front of you. For those of you who are in the hubs in person, there's a QR code that your host will give to you and ask you to scan. And we just ask you to complete these. They're completely anonymous. It should take you, 2 to 3 minutes to complete, but it just helps us with planning for future events, or at the end, if anyone else would like to assist with this in future, it will help with your planning for future safer community symposiums, excuse me. So before we move on, we're just going to ask you to complete those evaluations. So these will pop up on your screen now. All right. I think just about everyone has hopefully completed those. We'll let you just finish those in the background as we keep going, but just so that we stay on time, I'm just going to go into the next section